Hi everybody, how are you doing today? So today I'm going to read a book that's a very special book. It's not one of the favorite of Evan and Daria's, though I think they like the book, but it was definitely my favorite book growing up, and I think Christian liked it too. So we are going to read Eloise, the first. There are many Eloises, but this one is the first book about Eloise. And Eloise was a little girl who lived in a hotel. Yep, pretty special. Okay, so let's find out where she lived. So I'm going to have to move this around a little bit so you can see the pictures, because the pictures are quite marvelous, as Eloise would say. So there it is. Eloise. I am Eloise. I am 6 years old. I am a city child. I live at the Plaza. There is a lobby, which is enormously large, with marble pillars and ladies in it, and a revolving door with a sign on it. That sign looks like a double P, but one of them is backwards. What do you think? There she is, watching the ladies talk. So, I live on the top floor. Of course, I am apt to be on any floor at any time. And if I want to go anywhere, I simply take the elevator. For instance, if I happen to be on the second floor, I just press that button until it comes up, and as soon as that door is open, I get in and say, "Fifth floor, please." And when those doors clank shut, we ride up and I get out on the 5th floor. And as soon as that elevator is out of sight, I skibble up those stairs to the 8th floor. And then I press that button, and when the same elevator comes up, and as soon as that door is open, I get in and say, "15th floor, please." And then when those doors clank shut, we ride up and I get out on the 15th floor. And as soon as that elevator is out of sight, I skibble down to the 12th floor and press that button. And when that same elevator comes up and those doors open, I say, "The lobby, please." And then those doors clank shut and we ride down without saying absolutely one word. And then I get into the next elevator and go all the way up. Oh, and here is a marvelous drawing of her going all the way. Let me see if I can get this all the way to the top. There she's at the top. Then I get off the top floor. I look in the mirror at me, Eloise. And then she skibbles down those stairs and look, all the floors she goes through. Oh my, heavens above. I live down the end of the hall. Sometimes I take 2 sticks and skitter them along the walls, and when I run down the hall, I stomp my feet against the woodwork, which is very good for scuffing and noise. Sometimes I slomp my skates if I want to make a really loud and terrible racket. Let's see where she is. Oh, there she is. Oh, Lord, she must be making a racket. She's quite naughty. We have a buzzer on our front door. I always lean on it. That's how Nanny knows it's me, Eloise. There's Nanny. Nanny is my nurse. She wears tissue paper in her dress, and you can hear it. She is English, and she has 8 hairpins made out of bones. She said that's all she needs in life for Lord's sake. Nanny says she would rather I didn't talk all the time. She always says everything 3 times. Like Eloise, you can't. Sometimes I hit her on the ankle with a tassel. She is my mostly companion. Look at that. Thank heavens she has Nanny. I have my own room. It has a coat rack, which is as large as me. Huh. She also has a mess in her room. Wow. I hope she cleans that up. I have a dog that looks like a cat. His name is Winnie. Sometimes I put sunglasses on him, and then I have to scratch his back with a coat hanger. I have a turtle. His name is Skipperty. He eats raisins and wears sneakers. The Plaza is the only hotel in New York that will allow you to have a turtle. Whoops. There's somebody with a dog who definitely doesn't like Skipperty. Skipperty and me, we always know when it's morning because Weenie breathes in our faces and kisses us. The absolutely first thing I have to do is braid Skipperty's ears, otherwise he gets cross and develops a rash. What do you think about that? Nanny gets up feeling tired, and puts on her kimono and skibbles over to slam the windows shut so we don't freeze. Then she stretches her muscles and feels fresh. Nanny yawns out loud. Then I pick up the telephone and call room service. Ooh, I absolutely love room service. They always know it's me. And they say, "Yes, Eloise?" And I always say, "Hello, this is me, Eloise. And would you kindly send me 1 roast beef bone, 1 raisin, and 7 spoons, the top floor, and charge it, please? Thank you very much." Then I hang up and look at the ceiling for a while and think of a way to get a present. I usually yawn out loud several times. Then Nanny gives a signal, and Winnie and Skipperty and me, we skibble out of bed as fast as we everly can. And Nanny wraps us in our robes and holds us tight, and I pat her on her botto, which is large. Then we have to do our morning duties and laugh and sing. And there is a song that they sing, and there they go singing. Ooh. Wait. I just love Nanny. I absolutely do. They're having quite a time of it in every morning, I think. While I'm busy brushing my teeth, there's a pigeon who always hangs around our bathroom window, and he does absolutely nothing but coo. He is fat and grizzly, and I holler at him, and he flies over to the Sherry Netherland, which is another hotel, for a while to see what they're up to. Weenie and me weigh 36. Nanny weighs 18 stones. Skipperty weighs absolutely nothing at all, unless he has his sneakers on, then of course he weighs a half. Nanny puts on her corset, which is enormously large, but which is very good for her back. Kleenex makes a very good hat. Well, I think she's right. I think a Kleenex box would make a great hat. When we are clean, we skibble in our scuffs to the kitchen. And there is Renee with room service. Renee always says, "Bonjour, Eloise. Voici votre petit déjeuner." Nanny always says, my, doesn't that look good? And I always say, "Bonjour, Renee. Merci, and charge it, please." Nanny has Irish bacon, which reminds her of her brother. You have to eat oatmeal or you'll dry up. Anybody knows that. Nanny likes her coffee hot, hot, hot. An 8-cup makes a very good hat. I think Eloise likes hats. What do you think? I have 2 dolls, which is enough. Their names are Sabine and Sailor. Sabine is a rag doll, and she has absolutely no face at all, partially because she came from Jamaica by Air Express. Otherwise, she has shoe button eyes and 2 right legs. She is rather unusual. Sailor is a very large doll and has a hard head and no arms. She was in the most terrible accident, and she bled so hard she almost choked in the night. And this ambulance came and took her to this hospital, and it was an emergency, and they had to give her all terribly dark medicine, a lot of Band-Aids. And when she came back home, she was weak, and had to take cod liver oil. Whoops, almost lost the book. Where am I? Okay. I gave her a strawberry leaf from under my grapefruit for not whimpering, and Winnie licked her face. They have to have a teaspoon of water every hour or so, so you can imagine how they are extremely a lot of work. So here, I think, is the terrible accident that happened. Yes. Oh, look. Here's what I like to do. I like to make up things. I think so. That's all of her imagination. What happened to the poor doll? Oh dear. Here's what I can do. Chew gum. Write, spell, stand on my head for the longest amount of time, stand on my toes, get dizzy and fall down, make terrible faces. And here's the thing of it. Most of the time, I'm on the telephone. Who could she be calling, I wonder? My day is rather full. I have to call the valet and tell him to get up here and pick up my sneakers to be cleaned and pressed and have them back for sure without fail. Then I have to play piano and look in the mirror for a while. Then I have to open and close the door for a while and see as soon as I hear talking and laughing, I skitter out and run down the hall. Oops. And if there's an open door, I have to walk in and pretend I'm an orphan. And then sometimes I limp and sort of bend to the side and look sort of sad and in between the arms, and they give me a piece of melon or something like that. And then I roam around the halls, and I have to scurry down to the 10th floor to adjust those thermostats in case anyone needs it. If there's a fire on the 6th floor, I know how to fix it. Then I have to ride down and see what those hotel officers are up to. All they do is walk and talk. I've never been arrested. Then I have to hurry back to the lobby. Our daymaid's name is Johanna. She has rare earrings with garnets and is going to take her Social Security to Bavaria on her birthday. One time I saw this man in this hairnet, and he bawled at her out for taking his razor blades. I have to help her put on those pillowcases, or she'll never be through by 4 for Lord's sake, and she has to be through by 4. Then I have to go around to the service elevator on the 6th floor and see what everyone's doing. Everybody's thrown away, and if I want it or not, like ribbon or something like that. Then I have to go down to help the switchboard operator in case there are any DAs, and there has to be some sort of message taken or something like that. Yeah, those were the days when they had switchboard operators. See down there? Yeah, you'd call in and they'd say, "What room, please?" And then they'd give you to that room. If there is an exit sign, I always have to go into it because there might be a mattress in there that I can lie down on and get some rest so I can carry on for the Lord's sake. Oh my Lord, I'm absolutely so busy. I don't know how I can possibly get everything done. Then I have to hop around for a while. There she is hopping, losing her shoes. I have lunch at the Palm Court if it's too rainy and see Thomas. We are both rather fond of talking, and he gives me Gugelhofen. Thomas is the son of, has a son in the Marines who got married on a shoestring. Thomas has a Corvette. It's a rather fancy car, especially back then. I always go into the Persian room after 4 to see my friend Bill. He's a busboy in the night and goes to school during the day, and his eyes water. Here's where he's been, Madrid. Here's where I've been, the boiler room. Then I go scamper to the terrace room where all those debutantes are prancing around. See, there they are, dancing down there. Then I have to skibble to the Baroque room because sometimes there is this chalk and there's this pitcher with ice water in it, and you should see the cigar smoke left over from the General Motors meeting. Oh my Lord. Then I have to help the busboys and waiters get up to the crystal room. They're always with so much last second for Lord's sake, and then we have to rush our feet off. Okay. There are absolutely nothing but rooms at the Plaza. Ooh, I absolutely love the Plaza. There's somebody getting married right there, huh? The Plaza is still a very large hotel in New York City, one of the oldest and most beautiful, and it has many, 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 many rooms. And people used to live there permanently. So this is the story about Eloise living there permanently. Sometimes, if they're having this enormous affair in the grand ballroom, I get there early to help Joe set up the lights in the ceiling. And before anybody gets there, we just scamper up this ladder and hide up there in those holes. See where she is, way up there? Oh my Lord, is it ever sweltering hot up here. I always wear my sun visor. Mm-hmm. I am all over the hotel. Half the time I am lost, but mostly I'm in the first floor because that's where catering is. I have to go down there every day for at least 3 hours, and sometimes I have to go at night. Oh my Lord, do they ever have a lot of things going on down there? Mm-hmm. There is the oak room, which is to the right if you want to have a broken mint or something like that. And you have to go downstairs to the rendezvous room, which is very good for hiding over long periods of time and for doing a tour jeté or so. Uh-huh. Then the package room has all those packages in it, and sometimes I have to help them lift those heavy boxes and look for small packages that might be for me, Eloise. Sometimes I go to the men's room, which is very good for playing railway station or something like that. Every Wednesday, I have to go to the barber shop and have Vincent shape my hair. He does absolutely nothing but talk and swiggles me around in the chair and hurts my neck with that whisk broom. Sometimes I squonk him on the kneecap. Getting bored is not allowed. Sometimes I comb my hair with a fork. Sometimes I wear my arm in a sling. Sometimes I put a rubber band on the end of my nose. Sometimes, uh, you know, the toe shoes make very good ears. Sometimes I wear them to lunch. Uh-huh. Sometimes I'm a mother with 40 children. Imagine that. Sometimes I'm a giant with fire coming out of my hair. There she is scaring Nanny, Winnie. Sometimes I get terribly sick and have to be waited on. Sometimes I get so sick my head falls over and is wobbly until it's loose, and then we have to call my mother long distance and charge it. My mother is 30 and has a charge account of Bergdorf's. She wears a 3.5 size shoe. I put a large cabbage leaf on my head when I have a headache. It makes very good hat. My mother knows Coco Chanel. She goes to Europe and to Paris and sends for me if there's sun. I'm always packed in case I have to leave on TWA at a moment's notice or something like that. My mother has AT&T stock and she knows an ad man, whatever that is. Sometimes my mother goes to Virginia with her lawyer. He has an office on Madison Avenue. He has already had a whooping cough and had the measles. Sometimes I give him a rubber candy. He's absolutely so dumb he eats it. Sometimes he brings me a present, whether I deserve it or not. I usually do. Here's what he likes, martinis. Here's what I like, dandelions. I bet she misses her mom a lot. I absolutely dislike school, so Philip is my tutor. He goes to Andover. My mother knows the dean. He wears red garters and is boring, boring, boring. When we have our French lesson, he reads in French about La Petite Cousine de Marie and her jardin, and sometimes I listen to him, but not very often. Here's what makes Philip angry. He always says, alors nous commencerons. And I say, alors nous commencerons. And he says, shall we settle down, Eloise? And I say, shall we settle down, Eloise? And he says, that's quite enough, Eloise. I say, that's quite enough, Eloise. And he says, I mean it, Eloise. And I say, I mean it, Eloise, right back at him. And he looks at me with fiercely eyes, and I look back at him with fiercely eyes. And then he says, that will do, Eloise. And I say, that will do, Eloise. And then he shouts, Eloise, I mean it. And then I shout, Eloise, I mean it, right after him. And then he gets madder and says, stop it at once, Eloise. And I say, stop it at once, Eloise. And then he stands up and says, very well, Eloise. And I stand up and say, very well, Eloise. And then he walks around the room, and then I walk around the room. And then he shouts, Nanny, and I shout, Nanny. Oops. And Nanny comes in yelling, no, 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 Eloise. And she claps her hands, and Skipperty and me, we skibble over to hide behind the television or fall dead behind a hidden door. And then Nanny puts her arm around Philip and calls room service and says, send 2 of everything, please. And when the waiter brings the check, Nanny signs it with my mother's name, and I simply tell him to charge it, please, and thank you very much. And then I do a cartwheel. Philip is always glad to go home. Well, I bet he is glad to go home. But unfortunately, she sounds like somebody who would love school because she doesn't have any friends if she's going to stay at the plaza. She needs to get out and make friends. So let's see what she does. Every night I have to call room service to send up that menu so we can order our dinner for Lord's sake. And I always have to read it for a few seconds or so, and then I just say, I'll have the planked medallion of beef tenderloin with fresh vegetables maison, please. And 2 raisins, 1 strawberry leaf, and 1 clams in saison, s'il vous plaît, and charge it, please. Thank you very much. The night maid's name is Lily. She married the engineer of the subway and cut her hair, but I think she's sorry. She gives us extra pillows and soap. Once there was this most terriblest storm that came up, and it rained, and all this thunder was clumping itself into the water, and all these people were drowning without air, and absolutely no one was saved. And I think that's her imagination. There she is in the bathtub. TV is in the drawing room. I always watch it with my parasol in case there's some sort of glare. And oh my Lord, when it's fight night, Nanny is absolutely wild, and we have to scamper into our places and get ready, and Nanny has to find her players, which are cigarettes. And I have to get my binoculars and call room service and order 3 Pilsner beers for Nanny and 1 meringue glacé for me, Eloise, and charge it, please. Thank you very much. Every night when it's time to go to bed, Nanny yawns out loud and says she is tired, tired, tired. I make as much noise as I possibly can, like turning on the phonograph, reading aloud, and hollering a lot. Then I have to brush Nanny's hair for her. And then we both yawn out loud and get into our PJs. Then I have to put on my don't disturb sign and get Skipperty and Weenie and me all tucked in. Then Nanny opens the windows enormously wide so we can have air, air, air. And then she turns out the light. Sometimes we go to sleep right away, but not very often. Sometimes Weenie and Skipperty and me, we get out of bed and go into that closet and look around for a while, and then we get in there and there is this cave, and it's so dark in there, it's absolutely black, and then there is this big bug in there that has those enormously large feathers, and he picks us up by our necks and slinks us around in his paws and carries us down to this deep well that is all filled with tigers and lions and birds of prey. And they eat us up raw and step on us and stamp up their feet on us and absolutely rank us. and we have to run for our lives and drag each other on our stomach and scrape our face along the side until we are absolutely breathing and stretching our arms to reach that closet door barely in time, and our heart is beating, and we have to wake Nanny with a flashlight in her face and save us and put witch hazel and cotton on all of our toenails. Nanny has to get up, and pamper me and spoil me for a while I'm out of my head with fever and pain. Ooh, I absolutely love the Plaza. Oh my Lord, there's so much to do. Tomorrow I think I'll pour a pitcher of water down the mail chute. So that's the end of Eloise. 6 years old. So there are more adventures she gets to. I'll read them some other time. See you at the next book.